Thank you all for joining us today. My name is John Andrews. I'm a senior population biologist here at AZA's Population Management Center based right here at Lincoln Park Zoo. My pronouns are he and him, and in today's video we're going to talk about reproductive biology and extraordinary things beyond the binary in the animal kingdom. A lot of animals that we house in zoos and aquariums have really unique biological adaptations. Some of them we don't even know about and are discovering on a daily basis. One such example is something called Parthenogenesis. And this is something that is very common in a lot of reptiles, fish, some insects, and a lot of other species. One thing we see sometimes is in some lizards, this can happen spontaneously where parthenogenesis allows them to sort of clone themselves almost. And a female who is not around a male will just spontaneously create offspring. For a Komodo dragon, this one instance actually affected population planning. I was trying to help managers and zoos find a male to pair with a female who we wanted to breed. She was a healthy big girl, and she decided she did not need a male and just made 10 offspring for us, all by herself. And so that created some challenges for us to help manage the population, but we still made sure all of her babies, clones that they were taken care of, and now I hope she is paired up with a beautiful male. Another interesting behavior we see in the wild, but also in zoos and aquariums, is this behavior called Transvestism. And you might not think to associate that with animals, but we actually see it a lot. And it comes in three different forms. There's physical, chemical, and behavioral. One example of physical we might see in zoos is oftentimes a lot of older pheasants or birds will, if they're female, sometimes sprout male plumage spontaneously. This could be a form of transvestism, or it could be something different biologically, but it's certainly very interesting. In the wild, sometimes we see impala, where if they lose their male in the herd, females can suddenly sprout a horn. That's another form of physical transvestism. Another interesting form of transvestism is behavioral transvestism, and we see an interesting case of this in bighorn sheep. In the wild, males will live completely separate from females, and they only come together to breed once a year. Male bighorn sheep that are behavioral transvestites and act and behave like a female are readily accepted into female herds. They live with the females all year and are behaviorally the same as the rest. During breeding season, males will come together and try and breed with females and also try and mount those transvestite males. A lot of animals in the animal kingdom can also physically change their sex from one sex to another. We see this a lot in fish and various other taxa, but in parrotfish especially, this can be kind of common. And they're very common fish that we see in aquariums and other zoos around the country. Now, for some parrotfish, sex changes can happen either from males only to females, and females don't change sex, or vice versa. And sometimes it can be both males and females potentially able to change their sex. And what this means is that their organs actually physically go from being male, or testosterone, going to female, or having ovaries. And what we see in some fish especially is if you have different phases of your life, so like a juvenile color phase or an adult color phase, and say you have only one sex changing to another, not females, then potentially you could have a polygendered society where you have up to 5 genders. And that can just be mind-blowing to us and a lot of other animals who have a very different way of life.